So, at the world's most exclusive summit in Davos, you can bet there was one topic on everyone's mind: artificial intelligence. But what's really interesting is that behind all the public panels, two completely different futures were being debated. So, what was the real story? And, what does it actually mean for us?
Look, it is super easy to be skeptical about this stuff. You're probably thinking, I'm busy actually building with these tools. Why should I care what a bunch of billionaires are talking about? And honestly, that's a fair question. But the thing is, these high-level conversations are exactly where the powerful stories that shape AI's real-world impact are born. So just ignoring the chatter? It's not really an option if you want to understand the world this technology is going to operate in. Davos gives us this unique, unfiltered look at how global leaders are framing the AI revolution. And that frame, it affects everything, from where the money flows to the regulations that get passed.
All right, let's start with the first side of this debate. And no surprise here, it comes from the tech industry itself. Their message was overwhelmingly optimistic, really focused on growth and all the new opportunities. This right here, this simple phrase from Nvidia's CEO, Jensen Huang, pretty much sums up the entire optimistic case. His argument is that the sheer demand for AI infrastructure, we're talking chips, data centers, the energy grids to power it all, is, in and of itself, this massive job creation event, especially for skilled workers outside of traditional desk jobs.
And this optimism wasn't just about building the physical stuff. Oh no. Other tech leaders were talking about the productivity boom they're already seeing. Cisco mentioned they're now tackling projects in weeks that were just too tedious to even think about before. And get this, IBM's chief commercial officer put it bluntly, saying AI is now at the ROI stage, meaning it's actively making companies money by automating tasks and processes.
Okay, but for every optimistic voice in Davos, there was an equal and opposite warning. So let's flip to the other side of the argument, which came from major global institutions that have a much more sobering view on how AI will impact jobs.
A tsunami. I mean, just think about that word for a second. That's the powerful, almost alarming language coming from the head of the International Monetary Fund. It is a stark, direct contrast to the jobs, jobs, jobs mantra. This isn't just about a little change, it's about a massive, potentially disruptive force. And the IMS put some pretty staggering numbers to that tsunami warning. They estimate 60% of jobs in advanced economies and 40% of jobs globally are going to be impacted. Now, impacted is the key word, right? It could mean your job gets way better, or it could mean it's eliminated. That uncertainty is the real heart of the concern here.
So what we have are two completely different stories. On one side, you've got the tech industry seeing a productivity tool that creates demand for skilled labor. But on the other, global institutions see a force that could lead to massive job displacement, stagnant wages for the middle class, and even new barriers for young people trying to get their first job as AI takes over entry-level tasks.
Now, what's interesting is that the IMF wasn't all doom and gloom. They did offer up a potential silver lining, a kind of counter-argument to their own warning. And this number is just fascinating. So the theory goes that as high-skilled workers see their incomes rise because of AI, they spend more money in their local communities, in restaurants, shops, dentists, you name it. And studies out of San Francisco showed that for every one new tech job, 4.4 local service jobs were created. It's this feedback loop that could actually end up increasing total employment.
But while this whole public debate was raging on, a completely different story was unfolding behind the scenes. The companies actually building this future, like OpenAI, well, they weren't just debating. They were making deals. They were aggressively going after the enterprise market, turning all these high-level arguments into business reality.
Seriously, OpenAI was running a masterclass in corporate strategy. They hosted these exclusive dinners for CEOs like Disney's Bob Iger to show off new enterprise tools. At the exact same time their top execs were in Davos, not just to talk, but to close deals and build relationships. They were playing a whole different game.
And they're backing this whole shift with some hard numbers. Sam Altman recently revealed their API business is growing at an absolutely staggering rate, and their CFO expects enterprise customers to make up half their business soon. The message they're sending is crystal clear. They want the world to see them as way more than just the company behind ChatGPT.
So, what does this all add up to? You've got the tech optimists, the institutional skeptics, and the corporations that are quietly building empires. What is the real takeaway from Davos? When you look at these two totally conflicting views, the natural question is, okay, who won? Did the jobs, jobs, jobs camp win the day, or did the tsunami warning land harder?
And the answer might actually surprise you. The reality is that neither side really won. The outcome wasn't a clear victory for one narrative, but a much more complex, nuanced understanding.
You know, maybe the best way to describe the actual consensus is with a term inspired by banker Jaime Dimon, crisp realism. It's this simple, clear-eyed recognition that AI is not a force that can be stopped. You can't just put your head in the sand. It brings incredible opportunities, for sure, but it also brings very real challenges for society that have to be faced head-on.
So the battle lines are drawn. You have this optimistic vision of growth on one side versus the sobering reality of disruption on the other. The real question isn't what they think anymore. It's how are you going to navigate a world that's defined by both of these powerful forces at the exact same time?